hi, how
Hello.
are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
So you are the new transporter. How would you define the new transporter?
Wow, that's a difficult question. You know what's interesting for me is when we're shooting, I feel like the character, the story, and everything about it is my baby and it's mine. But when we cut and they go to the edit, and especially at this point, I feel like it's for everybody else. So I feel like everybody else should be answering the question of how they define the new transporter or my transporter. Yeah, I can't really answer
And
that.
what was your motivation to play Frank Martin?
Well, it was always a project which was unlike anything I'd done previously. You know, it was great for me to go into it and play a character, you know, that's the lead character. Of course, to explore that is my first time being the lead, you know, leading a franchise, working, you know, 51 out of 55 days, the sheer volume and that side of it, you know, the challenge, and then also the physical side of it, to learn a new skill set specifically for it, you know. So there was a lot of things educationally that made it seem like a good idea, but aside from that, it looked like fun.
Yes. And there's a lot of action and action scenes.
Yeah.
How did you prepare to play it?
Well, working with Alain Figlaz and his team of geniuses, crazy geniuses, it was wonderful spending time with them. You know, I arrived and we were colleagues. They were my coaches and I was the student, and we left as brothers, you know, and arm in arm, and we would roll around on the floor laughing and really mess around together, and we had great times together. I'm so thankful for the foundation that they built, you know.
And how was the meeting with Luc Besson for the audition?
It was great, you know. It was interesting. It was unlike any audition I'd done before, and, you know, he really wanted to take me out of the comfort zone for the audition, which was fine, you know. I quite like being taken on a journey, and I like a challenge, and I'm quite relaxed in situations like that, especially in this industry. So it was great, you know, and great to learn from such a visionary and such a talented man with such an incredible history.
And Frank Martin is serious, and his father is a little funny. So can you talk about the relationships between us?
I love that relationship. You know, when I watch the movie, it's my favorite part of it. I think, you know, I loved working with Ray. You know, we had such a great chemistry. You know, he's a great actor and a really, really great man. You know, he's a lovely man. He had such a positive energy on set. Everyone was smiling when Ray was around, and he provided a different energy, you know, and it was a decision of mine to film and be very disciplined while I was filming, you know, and live like a monk, live like an athlete for the whole shoot. So I almost isolated myself in a sense as well. So it was great that Ray could be there to be the fun character off set as well as on set, you know, and on screen as well, you know. It's Frank is an island, you know. He's a pedantic man with his heart closed off, sadly, and he's not very emotionally expressive, you know. So I think it's important for the story to have somebody like Ray, and it's interesting because it's almost like I'm the dad and he's the son, you know. That's how it feels, but he did a great job.
And driving that fast and
Yeah.
such a beautiful car,
Yeah.
is it something that you dreamed when you were a kid? Or?
I mean, I never really dreamed of that specifically, but it's definitely a boy's dream, you know. The car is so beautiful, and it's a joy, you know. I'm a simple man, a humble man. I don't have so many luxuries in my life, but what a joy to be able to sit in that car and have the luxuries of that car and all of the mod cons and the Bang & Olufsen stereo and all of this. Even in between takes, we were just listening to music in it, you know, and it was a beautiful car and a joy to be with, and actually one of the main characters in the movie. You know, it's like the car is the Robin to my Batman, you know. It's really my sidekick, and it's very important.
So you have the car and you have the suit, gorgeous suits.
Yeah.
So what were your first impression after you tried your suit?
We worked hard with the suit, actually, you know. It's a black suit, a white shirt and black tie is very simple, but, you know, you have to get it right. You know, we tried on lots of different suits, we tried lots of things, and I was very pedantic about it, just like Frank would have been, and really wanted to get these things right. And, you know, with the watch, we tried so many different watches, and, you know, the strap, you know, I even had to ask them to change the strap because it wasn't a Frank Martin strap, it's too ostentatious or whatever. And, you know, every single small detail was planned to you know, inform the character and also help me inhabit the character more. And the suit was beautiful, you know, Christian Dior. It's a gorgeous suit, and every time I put it on, I felt $1 million, and I think it's a nice outfit to wear to work for a couple of months, you know.
So now talk about music. The music of the third trailer is Pusha T feat. Gigi.
Yeah.
So you seem to like hip-hop music.
Yeah.
So what kind of music have you been listening right now?
Right now I'm listening to the new Kendrick Lamar album.
Yes.
I think it's incredible. You know, I was a huge fan of Kendrick from Section 80 and Good Kid, Mad City, so to hear the new album was incredible, and that came out while I was shooting Deadpool in Vancouver, and I remember the first time I listened to it, it will stay with me. And then there's, you know, artists like Maverick Sabre, who's an incredible artist from London, who's singing. Raleigh Ritchie, who's a friend of mine who is an actor in Game of Thrones as well. Grey Worm in Game of Thrones is doing some incredible work. So, but also I just love listening to the old albums, you know, I'm still listening to Redman, Muddy Waters and Farside, Lab Cabin, California from 1996. And I love the Pusha T, My Name Is My Name album as well. I could go on for a long time.
And have you listened to the new Dre album?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I liked it. It was interesting. I mean, I must say that Kendrick, his verses for me were the most interesting things on there. And there was a verse from Eminem which I felt was, you know, a great verse and felt like how we want to hear Eminem. And it was interesting. I mean, sonically, it was an incredibly engineered album. The mastering and everything was fantastic. So. Yeah, I'm a huge music fan still.
And I saw on your Twitter that you ever see French football, soccer.
Yeah.
Yes, you support Lille.
Yeah. I mean, there was one day on the set that one of the guys, they said to me, "Oh, my friend is coming down today. I want you to meet him." So I met with these guys, and you know, we hung out for 5 minutes, and we just talked like human beings. You know, it was nice. You know, they reminded me of my friends from back home. And then, so I said to them, you know, innocently, "What do you do?" And one of them said, "Oh, I play football, you know." And his name was Rio, and it's Rio Mavuba from Lille. And I said to him, "Wow, man, you know, for me, the footballers are like rock stars, you know." So he was excited to come to the set, and I was excited to go to his dressing room and to go to the stadium. I went there with my family, and he looked after us. He played football on the pitch with my son after, and, you know, I went to see... I met Divock Origi, who's a gentleman as well, and we went down to Nice and to Paris Saint-Germain and Monaco and you know, it was great. It was great. I still have my Lille shirt at home, and yeah, I wear it all the time. My son has the Mavuba shirt, so we keep in contact. He's a good man.
Okay, and for finish, what was your first impression or feeling after you saw the movie the first time?
Okay, I was smiling, you know. I'm a guy who doesn't get too excited. I don't get too sad. I look at things objectively and honestly and reflect, and I came out with a smile on my face.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.